using mind map was to better understand the problem and identify the causes, but also the connections between them. The students were able to highlight and describe the relationship between the elements of production system and organization of production processes, which are some of the learning aims assigned to a subject. It is also easier for them to identify the potential solutions, assess their usefulness for the enterprise, or the possible risks and barriers in its application. In comparison to the previous years, the students identify more solutions of the problem and describe them more correctly, which resulted in a more positive assessment of students' work. As a part of the lesson path, students must prepare an essay in which they present a solution to presented problem. They prepare it in 4-person teams outside of classes and hand it in for evaluation in the following week of classes. The essay consists of 4 parts: literature analysis, diagnosis of the problem, developing potential solutions, and conclusions. I didn't change the evaluation criteria because the mind map wasn't one of the elements being evaluated. Mind maps were prepared by the students as posters, and thanks to them, essay better correspond to assessment criteria. The papers were more concrete, factual, and offer solutions closer to correctness. The student statement didn't consist only of general statements like improving the production process or have good employees, but pointed to specific actions such as rescheduling, assigning tasks to employees, extending machine time in order to minimize the impact of the bottleneck on the process throughput. The change was visible in the key elements of the essay, such as the diagnosis of the problem and developing potential solutions, but also in conclusions.
The highlight concerning this experimentation was the student will be able to identify main elements that characterize teamwork competence and evaluate the teamwork activity through the use of a rubric in work groups focused on problem solving. While introduced some activities to monitor and assess the teamwork skill of the students, such an assessment did not affect the final grade of the students. I believe that the performance of a team also indirectly depends on the soft skill of its members. In particular, a team who developed a good bot should have worked very well identifying the tasks, assigning them to the most suitable members, organizing their execution. In order to monitor and assess the soft skills of the students, I needed to have many more individual and group meetings with the students. Before this experimentation, I usually spent a little time to support the teams.
The program's intended learning outcomes for the Master in International Sales Strategy and Marketing Intelligence include interpersonal skills. 2 of those learning outcomes that I use in my course are: first, students will be able to solve problems and to critically analyze them. Second, a student will be also able to demonstrate effective written and oral communication skills as well as decision-making skills. The use of design thinking method has 2 advantages. First is that it's very effective in letting students achieve their learning outcomes, especially when it comes to problem-solving skills. And the second one is that they get to learn the method, which is the main subject of my course, by practicing rather than learning it through a theoretical course.
The intended learning outcomes for this activity were to help students gain a clear understanding of how a creative process works and experience it firsthand, think critically and get out the most of a brainstorming session, develop effective communication abilities and techniques, and broaden collaborative opportunities in the classroom and in all the aspects of the university community.